Hi, this is CSProfessorPam with Jumpstart Code. We are continuing to learn JavaScript. In the last video, we built a simple application that allows us to input miles that we've driven and input how many gallons of gas, and it calculates the gas mileage, right? But we discovered a little problem here, which is, if I don't enter any input, I'm getting something strange here that I don't know what that means. Or if I enter miles but forget to enter gallons, I also get this strange thing here. So it is up to you as the programmer to ensure that your code has all the necessary input before you start to do the processing. And in order to do this, we need to learn some new concepts. So that's what we are going to start to talk about in this video before we actually get into some coding. We need to talk about what are called conditionals, or making decisions. This is how you are able to have your program choose actions based on a question. We do this in our everyday life. You tell yourself, if it's raining, then take an umbrella. So that's an action that you are making a decision whether or not to do that based on the question of, is it raining, right? Or if you're a student, you might tell yourself, if I have a test tomorrow, then I'll study tonight. Otherwise, I'll watch a movie. So you have these two actions that you are deciding between, and the decision is based on the question, do you have a test tomorrow? Right? So that is a yes or no question, or a true or false question. And in programming, these questions are called Boolean expressions. So a Boolean expression is an expression that results in an answer of true or false. And true and false are keywords in programming languages that have meaning. So Boolean expressions are generated by what's called relational operators. We, up to now, have talked about some mathematical operators, right? We've talked about how do you do addition, subtraction. This is the multiplication operator. This is the division operator. But now we are going into another type of operator, all right? And it's called relational operators. And there are 6 main relational operators, although in JavaScript there's a couple more, but we'll get into that in a future lesson. So the main ones, if you think about your math class, if you are comparing two numbers, what are the basic comparisons? You have greater than, and we're familiar with this as the greater than sign. So 10 greater than 5 is a Boolean expression, because that expression has an answer which is either true or false. So 10 greater than 5 is true. But if I have 5 greater than 10, the result of that expression is false, right? If you want to ask if a number is greater than or equal to, in math class, you probably write something like this, but we don't have a key like this on the keyboard. So you have to use greater than and the equal sign right next to each other to represent greater than or equal. And you want to do it in this order, and you don't want to put a space between them. So 8 greater than or equal to 4 is false, right? I'm sorry, that's true. 8 greater than or equal to 4. I think I actually meant to put this in the other direction. So let me actually adjust this, because I know that's quite confusing. So let's change this to, well, you guys know what I'm trying to do here. I'll just do it on my slide. So this actually should be, this should be 8 or 4 greater than or equal to 8 is false, right? But 8 greater than or equal to 8 is true. All right, so I made a correction here on my slide. So again, this is greater than or equal to, and greater than or equal to 4 greater than or equal to 8 is false. 8 greater than or equal to 8 is true, right? So that's our greater than or equal to operator. Then similarly, we have less than. So 2 less than 5 is true. 2 less than 2 is false. We have less than or equal to. 7 less than or equal to 5 is false. 7 less than or equal to 10 is true. All right, when it comes to equal, so we have used the what we typically call the equal sign. We've been using it, but it is the assignment operator. This is what you use to assign a value to a variable. We have to have a way of distinguishing that from the equality operator. So this is something that you have to get used to, and you're going to probably make a lot of mistakes on this in the beginning. So if you want to ask if two numbers are equal, you need to put 2 equal signs. And in JavaScript, there is actually one that is 3 equal signs, but we don't need that right now, so we'll talk about that later. So 5 equal to 5 is true. 5 equal to 7 is false. And for not equal, in math class, you usually kind of do something like this, but in programming languages, it is the exclamation point and the equal sign. So 10 not equal to 5 is true. 10 not equal to 10 is false. All right. Now, I also want to say that you can compare strings in a similar way because there's an order to strings. So if I were to say, is red less than apple, then just think about alphabetical order. Which one comes first in the dictionary? It would be A, so that means this expression is false. Apple is actually less than red. But again, we'll get to those a little later. Right now, we are focusing on more numerical comparisons. All right, one more thing in just our beginning concepts. There's one more type of operator, which is called a logical operator. And there are 3 of them. So the logical operators are and, or, and not. And these are how they're represented in JavaScript. And think of them, you may have heard of a truth table. These operators only work on a true or false value. So if I have, let's say, x and y, right? If x is true, y. So there's 4 values I can have. They can both be true. We can have true, false, false, true, false, false. If I go x and y, then this is only true if both of these are true. So if x and y are both true, this is true. In all these other cases, this will be false, right? If I go x or y, and this line here, this is the, on your keyboard, this is the shift of the backslash key is what you use for this. Then or is true if either one of them is true. So if in this case this is true, in this case x is true, so that's true. In this case this is true and this is false. So The and is only true when they're both true. The or is only false when they're both false. Okay? Now, one last thing here before we move on. What do I do if I have an expression with all these different types of operators? So the order of operation is you do all the arithmetic first, then you do all the relational operators, then you do all the logical operators. So here is an example expression, and it looks like a whole lot of what do I do with this? So let's work through it step by step. So we first have to do the mathematical operations, and we have to use order of precedence there. So, for example, multiplication here has precedence over addition. So this becomes 2 plus 3 times 4 is 12. And then we have parentheses here. So we always go ahead and do our parentheses. So this is 6 divided by 3 plus 5, or 10 divided by 2 greater than or equal to 3 plus 2. All right, we have more arithmetic we can do. So here, 2 plus 12 is 14. Here, what do we do first? We have to do the division first. And so this is going to be 6 divided by 3 is 2 plus 5. 10 divided by 2 is 5, greater than or equal to 3 plus 2 is 5, right? We continue. We have 14 less than, now we have 2 plus 5, this is 7, or 5 greater than or equal to 5. Now all the arithmetic is gone. The next thing that we do are the relational operators. So here, so we do 14 less than 7. 14 less than 7 is false. Here, 5 greater than or equal to 5 is true. So we have false or true. And since it's an or, and we have at least one true, then that means this expression is true. So this entire big crazy expression here evaluates to true. And it's really important to understand how to evaluate relational or Boolean expressions like this. All right, so I think I'm going to stop this video. This is just our foundations of understanding Boolean expressions and relational operators and logical operators. And we're going to continue in the next video understanding how to use this to create if statements.